Hey guys, welcome to Ape Escape 2. This is one of the craziest games you'll ever play, and one of the best. Now, I'm gonna cause a little controversy here, but let's go. Most people prefer Ape Escape 1. I actually prefer Ape Escape 2. I always thought the voice actor in Ape Escape 1 sounded a little too mature for the character. You know, the character is supposed to be a child and yet he sounded like a teenager. I actually like that the character here actually sounds like a child. I think it's more fitting for this type of game. I also like all the little in-jokes they put in at the end. That giant moon base, Ham, Ben, that monkey trapped in carbonite, the Terminator monkey at the end. You know, all those little nods and in-jokes they put hinting towards movies like Star Wars, Terminator and things like that. I find it gives it a little different feel from the rest of the series. Yeah, I never liked Spike much as a character compared to some of the other protagonists. So yeah, I prefer Ape Escape 2 to the first entry in the series. So let's watch the intro movie.
Can you see me all right? I have a favor to ask you. While I'm away, could you use the transporter to... Well, now, what did they get to anyway? Yeah. Send these newly designed pants to Monkey Park for me. Would you mind? It's a delicate machine, so be careful not to overload it.
Natalie! I sent the professor's stuff okay! Huh? Jimmy! What are you doing? You've gone over the weight limit! Don't worry, the stuff went through fine! Pants alone couldn't do that. There's just no way. Look, it arrived fine, Natalie. What the? Monkey helmets? No! See? Everything arrived safe and sound. Oh no! No! Isn't it cool? Just like Pippa Cheese. No, that's not the point. That type of helmet is different from Pippa Cheese. It's caused us big problems in the past. When monkeys put those helmets on, they get into all kinds of mischief. Wow, a white monkey. What? Spectre? Oh no, it's happening again. Oh. It doesn't look like he's bothering anyone. Spectre is a smart one. We don't know what he might do if he uses his powers to take control over the other monkeys. What should we do? They look like they're having lots of fun. What are you talking about? You have to get all the monkey helmets back before the professor returns from his trip. What? Why me? Because you mess things up! Get moving! I'll do it! Unbelievable.
So, a question here. Did those monkeys really need pants? You ever see Bigfoot or the orang panda walking around with a pair of pants? I don't know, it just doesn't seem like an overwhelming need for those monkeys to have pants, which caused this whole situation in the first place.
Here I come!
Jimmy, can you hear me? It's me. I'll be using these message phones to help you out. You should be thankful that I'm doing this. So listen carefully to what I say, okay? First, let me explain your gadgets. Gadgets are useful tools that you control with the right analog stick. This is how you use them. gadgets are activated in a variety of different ways. Try rotating and moving the right analog stick in different directions. Right now, you have just two gadgets. The Stun Club and the Monkey Net. Use the Stun Club to attack monkeys and enemies, and also to activate switches and devices. Your Monkey Net is used to catch those cheeky monkeys. To start with, the Stun Club is set to the triangle button, and the Monkey Net is set to the X button. Each button can be set to switch to a different gadget. You'll find it very convenient. Good luck!
I always like the way the Stun Club looks a little like a lightsaber. Yeah, so those red phones are hints that you pretty much have to listen to. The blue ones are optional. They'll give you hints about things you can do in the game and things to help you out of certain situations. They start you having to catch off only 3 monkeys, so this is a pretty easy level just to introduce you to the game.
Jimmy, use the R1 or R2 buttons to jump. Either R1 or R2 buttons can be used, so try it. That's it. If you need to hear my advice again, hit the message phone with the Stun Club. First switch to the Stun Club. Then move the right analog stick in the direction you want to strike.
Yeah, that's a good advantage that the game gives you, following the pattern they established in Ape Escape 1, where you can switch the gadgets to different buttons, because some gadgets actually do work better when put in certain buttons, in my opinion. So a little background about this game, or rather this series. I first played this game, the original Ape Escape, back in 1999. At the time, I didn't really know why it was necessary for this game to have an analog stick only control scheme. You know, that was the main selling point of the series. Sorry, of the game. It was basically the first game on the PlayStation 1 to be controlled solely using the analog stick, which meant that if you didn't have a controller with the analog stick, you basically couldn't play the game. And I thought that was stupid at the time. I thought that was silly. Why couldn't you control the character with the ordinary D-pad? You know, I hadn't played the N64 or anything like that, so I didn't really know anything about analog sticks. The only joysticks I ever used were the ones for the arcade machines. You know, all those fighting games and all the arcade style games that have pretty much gone away. But that was the only thing I know about a control stick. I hadn't played the N64, so I wasn't used to it. The D-pad was all I knew. So I wondered why it was even necessary to have a game that could only function with the analog stick, which meant you had to buy a whole new controller just to play the game. But then I actually tried it, and I never went back.
Jimmy, listen to this. If you press the jump button again while in midair, you can do a double jump. Double jumps will help you reach high places. Take notice, the blue message phones like this one won't ring. So while you're still learning the controls, try to hit as many as you can for important advice.
Yeah, you know, once I actually tried the analog stick, it was pretty much a revelation. You know, how much easier and how much smoother the characters controlled compared to the D-pad.
See the cookies in the top left of the screen? Each time you are injured, these cookies disappear one by one. If you lose all of your cookies, you'll collapse from exhaustion. Nobody wants to see that happen, so keep a full supply. Cookies can be found in the levels, the gotcha box, or by destroying enemies.
And the thing is that as you went back and actually played games you had played before, you found all new stuff with the analog stick that you didn't even know about before. You know, if you went back and played Soul Reaver, the very first Soul Reaver on the PlayStation 1, Raziel could actually walk. You know, he didn't just run, he could actually walk and tiptoe towards enemies. And I didn't even know that, because that first time I played Soul Reaver, I played it with the regular PlayStation controller, so I didn't even know that Raziel was capable of walking. I thought all he could do was run. So yeah, once I tried games with the analog stick, I pretty much never went back. I don't even use the D-pad now. I know some platformers still use it. But I pretty much resist using the D-pad unless absolutely necessary. I also liked how you can actually switch the gadgets between the different buttons. I never seen it. So yeah, that was a pretty groundbreaking game back in the PS1 days. The first Ape Escape. Here's a nice little trick. You can actually sneak up behind the monkeys if you crawl. There we go. All three monkeys. And it's funny because they'd actually hinted at the analog stick before it even came out. I think in Metal Gear Solid 1 there's a conversation between you and Colonel Campbell Master Miller, where Miller hints to Snake that you can actually stalk as a way of walking, which means you won't be hurt by the enemy.
Welcome to the travel station. This has been our new home since you blasted the lab. I had to build it out of the remains of my own room. Use the warp machine at the front to go and catch monkeys. I've also made a save port. It's really useful.
Master Miller basically recommended Snake stalk as a way of walking to avoid being hurt, and Snake basically makes a comment that he can't do it. And I didn't know it at the time that was pretty much a hint at what you would be able to do in the future with other games once you actually had the analog stick and weren't just relying on the D-pad. So this is a hub, the way station of the game. This is pretty much where you'll find a lot of surprises. You can get items here from the gacha box.
That device over there is the gacha box. For 10 gold coins, you can get yourself a cool item. The items that you win here can be viewed at the mini game corner and in the entertainment center. Collect as many as you can.
See, it takes 10 coins per item, and you can get a huge amount of stuff here, and it's all pretty cool. You get artwork, concept art, secret photo. Everyone gather together. You can get these are pretty cool little details. They're called monkey fables, and they're basically monkey oriented spins on traditional fairy tales, you know, Jack and the Beanstalk, that type of thing. Nightmare Scenario Part 1. After taking the now powerless Spectre back to the zoo, Spike had returned to a normal life. Or so he thought. When he ran to the park, the children were reading Monkerella. But that's not all. The Statue of Liberty was a giant monkey holding a banana. Yeah, that was one of the best. You kinda get a Planet of the Apes vibe from that one.
Here you can view the data of captured monkeys and the various items that you got from the gacha box.
So you have the Monkeypedia, that'll help you keep track of all the monkeys you've captured. And it'll also give you nice little details like their name. Let's see what we have so far. We got 3 out of 5 on Liberty Island. Got George, monkeys will rule the earth. Got Squat, why move? And we've got Cruiser, my vision is to guard this spot. They actually get more interesting as you get into the game. These are pretty much the standard generic monkeys at first, but you'll find more unique monkeys as you go throughout the game. Here's your secret photo. Say cheese. We don't have any yet, but you can also get some of the theme songs from the game. That's actually one of the best features in my opinion. You can get all the little soundtracks from the game. starting with the very first song you heard right in the opening movie.
Here, you can play the bonus games, but you will have to win them first. There are no mini games here yet.
Yeah, the way that minigames were done in the first game, and also in the PSP port of the first game, was that you would buy them, I think, using find throughout the stages. Here you pretty much rely on luck. You basically have to get them out of the gacha box. The mini games here are not as good as the ones in the original Ape Escape. You know, the original Ape Escape and the PSP port of Ape Escape 1 had a Galaga type of game, and you know Galaga's always awesome. Yeah, so this one, I think the best is probably one that's version of Monkey Boxing. But yeah, the first game had way better mini games, and I think the third game actually has way better mini games, and it has more of them too. So let's go save our game.
Here you can save and load game data. Anytime you want to have a break, be sure to save your game.
I like how it's in the shape of a PS2, the original PS2, not the PS2 Slim. So we got all clear. Let's take that one. So this is not a long game, unless you really want to try to find all of the monkeys in the game and get all of the stuff in the gacha box. Otherwise it's pretty short. The levels can be beaten pretty quickly. I actually like that about the game. It's not long, but it's also not incredibly short. It's a nice length of time, I suppose, for a platform. So I think we checked out all there is to check out at the moment, so let's just go on to the second stage, Breezy Village. And they're gonna give you a new gadget as soon as you enter this stage.
Jimmy, I'm sending this gadget to you. The monkey radar seeks out those cheeky monkeys. First, you should practice in the gadget trainer. Do you want to go to the gadget trainer now?
Of course.
Let's do it!
The monkey radar is a great gadget for finding monkeys. If you can't manage to locate a monkey, it's the perfect time to try out the radar. Rotate the right analog stick to rotate the radar. It's important to move it nice and slowly. You'll know you've located a monkey when the sound of the beeper and the color of the beam change. The higher the pitch of the beeper, the closer the monkey. Behind one of these 3 doors is a monkey decoy. The monkey radar will tell you which one it is.
One of the cooler gadgets in the game, even though it's one of the most basic, because not only does it locate monkeys, but it actually gives you information about them through the monkey cam. That's how you can see some of the in-jokes that the developers included. The right hand door is the winner. It also shows you the stomach fullness, and the stomach fullness actually shows how aggressive they'll be, because if they're completely full, I think they're actually less aggressive than they are if they're hungry or starving. And as you can see, it also gives you the alertness level, the speed level, and the aggression level, so that's pretty good to know. Because there are some monkeys here that are very, very aggressive. And some of them are even wielding machine guns and UFOs, so you definitely want to be careful with those monkeys.
Let me explain how the monkey cam works. The monkey cam provides useful information about the monkeys. It's a nice device attached to the monkey radar. To switch to the monkey cam, press the L2 button. This will only work when you've located a monkey with the radar, and if he is close enough to you for the monkey icon to flash on screen. Press the L2 button again to switch it off. Cool, isn't it? You'll find it very useful. It will give you plenty of data. Point the radar at the monkey decoys in here, and then switch to the monkey cam. Don't miss the monkey comments at the bottom of the screen.
This is the wrong switch, I tell you. The one to the left of me is the winner. No use looking here. This is the wrong switch. Looks like the game capture I'm using is actually having a little bit of maintaining, I guess, the image. That's if it's flashing black from time to time. I'll have to fix that later.
Alright.
So this is like a little Holland-based level, I guess, or inspired by it, with all the little windmills and the nice little village here.
Whenever you get a new gadget, you need to assign this to a button. To equip a gadget, use the Gadget Select screen. You can open the Gadget Select screen with the Select button. Move the cursor to the gadget you want to equip by moving the left analog stick left or right. Press one of the buttons to assign the gadget to that button. Exit this menu by pressing the Select button again.
Yeah, the first couple of levels aren't terribly interesting. You know, I like the little monkey version of the Statue of Liberty on Liberty Island, but by and large, more interesting as you actually go further into the game. So let's assign the radar to it. I always put the radar at the bottom, and the net either to the circle or the square button. I usually choose square because I always reserve the circle for the flyer device that you get later in the game. I feel like I'm being watched. Wait, actually, I always choose the square for the radar and the X button for the net. Got a little confused there. And if you look at some of the photos that you'll get from the gacha box, most of those, the tomato birds, are actually combinations of things that the monkeys created. They throw them in a little machine and basically combine them. That's how you get like the pigs that are blended with something else. The tomato birds, birds and tomatoes blended together. It's kind of cool that the monkeys are making their own minions, so that you have something to fight besides just the monkeys. So full confession, this was actually supposed to be a playthrough for the HD remaster of the game. Well, not a remaster is the right word, probably the HD port of the game on the PS4. So I didn't even know this game was on the PS4. I found out and I immediately got it, because I figured why not, you know, it's a great game. I wanted to play it again. It had been a long time since I played it. Haven't played it in a couple of years, so why not? So here I go. I buy it on the PS4, all eager to play Ape Escape 2 again and get the trophies for it. And what do I find? I didn't read any reviews for it, so I didn't even know this. Apparently, they used the European voice acting for the PS4 port.
Stand below a bar and jump up to grab onto it. Use the R1 or R2 buttons to jump. Move the left analog stick to move along the monkey bars. When you want to jump down from the bars, press the jump button again.
And oh my god, that voice acting is horrible. Here's Krusty, I didn't do it. Seriously, words cannot describe how horrible that voice acting is. voice actors playing, what is it, Natsumi or Natsuki, as they call her. That's the weird thing too. It's the European voice acting, but the characters all have their Japanese names. And she just sounds like a woman instead of sounding like, I guess, a 14 or 13-year-old girl. And Jimmy, who is called Hikaru in the European version, his Japanese name sounds way too mature too. And once I found that out, I realized, you know what, I'm not doing that version with commentary. I'm still gonna do it, but I'm doing it as just a standard playthrough, which I'll post separately. No commentary, very little comments on the game. You know, I'm not gonna give a lot of commentary on this version either, because this isn't a long game, like I said, and it's pretty much just catch and repeat the monkeys, so it's not a huge complicated game. But yeah, like, talk about disappointing. I was disappointed. I was looking forward to it.
Nice job.
So that's a nice little lesson for you folks. Always read the reviews for games, even if you know them, because you never know what might be included in the new versions of them. Monkey Statue of Liberty. You've won Natalie's research memo. I discovered an amazing fact today. As a matter of fact, it seems that eels and loaches have scales as well. Great, my research has advanced even further. I wonder what I should examine next. Those are cool little facts too. They've got, I think, maybe like a few dozen of them. Just basic little scientific facts. So this one looks like a Venice inspired level. It's called Port Calm.
Jimmy, I'm sending this gadget to you. The water net is used to help you swim. You'll be swimming like a fish if you practice in the trainer. Do you want to go to the gadget trainer now?
Sure.
Here I come!
The water net is a gadget that allows you to swim underwater easily. When you go underwater, you'll automatically switch to the water net. Use the left analog stick to swim. First, try swimming to the far shore. Swim to the surface of the water and jump to get out. The water net is also used to catch monkeys swimming underwater. Press the R3 button to fire a net. Make sure your aim is accurate.
I'll tell you, trying to use that water net and swim in the PSP port of Ape Escape 1 is hell. Like seriously, you have no idea how frustrating it gets with that fake little excuse for an analog stick that they gave you. It's more like a thumb pad than an analog stick. And seriously, like I admire the fact that they picked a pretty good game for one of the first ports to the PSP, where they were trying to get it popular, but man, that thing really needed an analog stick.
Next, let's try some deep sea diving. Jump into the water and push up with the right analog stick. This makes you dive down. Press down with the right analog stick to swim up to the surface. Test your diving skills by swimming to the far shore. Watch out though, if you stay underwater too long, you'll run out of air. On the right of the screen, you'll see your oxygen gauge. Keep an eye on it while you're submerged. When you start running out of air, you'll need to resurface to take a breath. Is that clear, Jimmy?
And the thing is, you really notice it in games like Ape Escape and Daxter, where you do a lot of jumping, and even Peace Walker. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, I only played like an hour of that game, and let me tell you, that hour with that little fake excuse for an analog stick was enough to get me to not play the game again, even though I'm a huge Kojima fan. So yeah, in retrospect, it's pretty obvious why the PSP never caught on the way Nintendo's handheld consoles did. It's just way too frustrating to try to maneuver characters with that little knob of a control stick.